Alysa Liu stood at the center of the Milan ice skating arena on February 19, 2026, and for a brief moment, the entire world seemed to pause. She had just completed the performance of her lifetime as the final thundering orchestral notes of her MacArthur Park Suite free skate resonated through the rafters. Alysa did not adopt a traditional composed pose. She bent over, gasping for breath, a wide, authentic grin spreading across her face. She appeared less like an Olympic goddess and more like a university student who had just completed the toughest final examination of her life and was certain she had nailed it. The score that appeared on the scoreboard moments later transformed the sport permanently: 226.79. With that number, Alysa Liu did not simply claim a gold medal. She concluded a 24-year American nightmare. Since Sarah Hughes in 2002, no American woman had stood on the top step of an individual Olympic podium. For 2 decades, the U.S. had pursued the technical superiority of international powerhouses, frequently at the expense of their athletes' mental well-being. But in Milan, Alysa Liu surpassed the reigning world champions, not with quads or triple axels, but with a routine defined by pure, undeniable quality of execution. She demonstrated that in 2026, the judges were seeking a human being, not a machine. But as the audience erupted, only a handful of people were aware that this gold medal program nearly never occurred because of a high-stakes music rights controversy behind the scenes. The golden glitch of Alysa's 2026 campaign began months before the Olympics started. Originally, Alysa had intended to debut a groundbreaking new free skate set to a Lady Gaga medley centered around the viral track Bloody Mary. She had performed a version of it at the U.S. Championships in early 2026, and the footage went viral on TikTok, accumulating more than 15 million views in 48 hours. Fans were describing it as the Wednesday Addams on Ice moment. But as the Olympics drew closer, the U.S. figure skating legal team encountered a serious obstacle: the music rights nightmare. Because the Olympics are broadcast across more than 200 territories, every song must be approved for global distribution. For reasons that remained quietly frustrating to Alysa, the rights for Bloody Mary could not be obtained for several key Asian and European markets in time for the Games. Just weeks before Milan, Alysa was confronted with a decision: pursue a legal battle she could not win, or change direction. In typical Alysa fashion, she did not unravel. She reached back into her repertoire and revived her MacArthur Park routine from earlier in the season, refining it with a fresh, sophisticated Donna Summer energy. She transformed a potential catastrophe into a glitch, a last-minute update that actually improved the final product. She told the BBC that she was just like, "Okay, Donna Summer it is." This unbothered attitude is precisely why she was able to outperform competitors who had been rehearsing the same program for 2 years. If you want to understand who the new Alysa truly is, you have to examine what occurred just 48 hours after she claimed her first gold in the team event. While celebrating with her teammates Amber Glenn and Isabel Levito, Alysa was doing what she does best: leaping with joy. In a viral moment captured by a fan in the Olympic Village, Alysa jumped so high that her gold medal literally snapped off its blue and white ribbon. The solid gold disc struck the concrete floor with a jarring clink, sliding several feet before coming to a halt. When Alysa retrieved it, it was noticeably dented and visibly scratched. Most athletes would have been devastated. This was a physical representation of their life's work. But Alysa simply examined the dent, laughed, held it up to the camera, and told her Instagram story that it had character. The International Olympic Committee, however, was not equally entertained. They reportedly contacted the U.S. delegation, insisting that she exchange the damaged medal for an immaculate replacement. Alysa initially pushed back, arguing that the scratched medal represented her own journey: imperfect, a little worn, but still gold. Eventually, she consented to the swap, but the damaged medal became a symbol for her entire 2026 campaign. She was not there to be a flawless porcelain figure. She was there to be a genuine human being who drops things, makes mistakes, and wins regardless. While her free skate was a disco-fueled celebration, her short program was a deeply personal confession. Set to the song Promise by the Icelandic Chinese singer Laufey, the routine explored themes of distance, growth, and reclaiming one's past. The lyrics, "I've done the math, I've made the choice, I'm finding my own voice," mirrored Alysa's 2-year hiatus almost perfectly. Every time she performed the opening sequence, a hushed stillness descended over the Milan arena. Alysa admitted that she wept during nearly every rehearsal session for this program. It wasn't sadness, it was the release of 10 years of suppressed emotion. But the true reason for the tears in Milan was seated in the front row of the stands. For the first time in her career, all 4 of her younger siblings, the Liu Quintet, were in the audience to witness her skate. Growing up, Alysa had been the provider and the prodigy, frequently separated from her siblings by her demanding travel schedule. Seeing them there holding up Team Alysa signs made the gold medal feel like a family accomplishment rather than a solitary burden. She was no longer skating for the American dream. She was skating for the 4 kids who simply wanted her older sister to come home and play video games. When Alysa Liu finally touched down in San Francisco International Airport in late February, the scene was unlike anything California skating had ever witnessed. She didn't fly private. She flew in the back of a Delta flight wearing an oversized hoodie and carrying her 2 gold medals in her backpack. She later joked that the passenger seated beside her spent the entire flight complaining about the lengthy lines in Milan, completely unaware they were sitting next to the Olympic champion. But once she stepped through the golden corridor at SFO, the secret was out. Thousands of supporters, including hundreds of young skaters from her home rink in Oakland, were there to welcome her. As her motorcade traveled down Highway 880, she noticed 5 enormous billboards featuring her face, commissioned by her sponsors. The first thing she did was visit her favorite local restaurant, Trabocco in Alameda. She did not desire a parade, she wanted a bowl of fettuccine bolognese. The owner reportedly attempted to clear the establishment for her, but Alysa refused. She sat in an ordinary booth, medals resting on the table, and allowed fellow diners to take photos with her while she ate. This is the normalcy that makes Alysa the most relatable champion in history. She possesses the achievements of a legend, but the appetite and attitude of a neighbor. Technically, Alysa Liu's 2026 victory is a medical and physical marvel. When she first claimed the U.S. national title at 13, she was barely 4 feet 7 inches tall. She was a tiny spinning top who depended on sheer rotational velocity to land quads. By the time she arrived in Milan at 20, Alysa had grown 7 inches. In the world of figure skating, such growth typically ends careers. It alters your center of gravity, your blade pressure, and your jump timing entirely. Most skaters who grow that much lose their triples, let alone their gold medal form. But Alysa utilized her 2-year retirement to relearn her body. She exchanged the quad or bust obsession of her youth for axis alignment and artistry. She collaborated with biomechanical specialists to adjust her takeoffs, focusing on the physics of the glide rather than the physics of the spin. The result was a skater who appeared more powerful, more grounded, and more commanding on the ice. She also established a firm new boundary with her team, declaring, "No one is going to starve me or dictate what I can eat to stay small." This empowerment allowed her to compete at a healthy weight, which provided her the endurance to complete her programs with greater energy than her teenage rivals. Success for Alysa Liu in Milan is not simply about the gold medal around her neck. It's about the independence she reclaimed. She demonstrated to the world that greatness is not about how much you can endure, it's about how much you can choose. She chose to step away when the sport became a prison. She chose to return when she realized she missed the speed. She chose her raccoon hair, her candid expressions, and her Donna Summer anthems. And ultimately, she chose to be happy, which turned out to be the most effective competitive strategy of all. She essentially shattered the porcelain princess mold, replacing it with the rebel queen archetype, a champion who prioritizes her mental well-being over the podium, and in doing so, finds herself standing on top of it anyway. As she moves into the spring of 2026, the question on everyone's mind is whether she will remain for the 2030 Games in the French Alps. At 24, she would be regarded as a veteran in a sport that frequently discards women by 19. but Alysa's perspective is characteristically grounded. She's already committed to headlining the Stars on Ice North American tour, bringing her MacArthur Park joy to 25 cities beginning in April. She's also focusing on her psychology studies at UCLA and using her platform to advocate for youth mental health and high-performance sports. When questioned about 2030, she laughed. She told CNN that she was just going to see how the vibes are. She told CNN that she had already accomplished her impossible dream and that now she simply wanted to discover what else makes her smile. Whether she chooses to defend her title or steps away once more to pursue another summit, one thing is certain. Alysa Liu did not simply win a gold medal, she reclaimed her life. She proved that the most graceful move you can execute on the ice is not a quad, it's the decision to be yourself, regardless of what the world demands. Milan is hers. The golden glitch is legendary. The 24-year drought is finished, and the Rebel Queen is finally